Now, this conversation today is with, well, three of possibly my favorite brains of the year so far. And the knowledge they're going to bring to you today about top performance is something that a lot of people claim, but not a lot of people can deliver. So I don't know if you're like me and have had someone say, oh yeah, we can boost your inquiries by 200%. We can get you this, we can get you that. And you go, so if you can get it, then why can't you get it for yourself? So today we're going to dive straight into the conversation and basically top performance conceptualized has a meaning. So my visual is I think my top performance comes from the way I manage my brain. What does it mean to, let's go to Lisa. What does it mean to you?
Well, thank you for the question. I really do think that for me, being a top performer, we're joking around in my past of a health and wellness background, but it's like consistently how you do one thing is how you do everything. So it's like consistently performing better than your peers over time. And it really consists of quite a few factors. It's like you said, your brain, it's a mindset mastery. It's to get there and stay there. It's changing limiting beliefs. I help executives identify and overcome negative self-talk and limiting beliefs that hold them back. And this could involve using techniques like reframing and just being more self-compassionate, because us high performers are so hard on ourselves. Instead of taking stock as to like what you've already accomplished, so like the next thing and the next thing. So it's self-compassion, a growth mindset, enhancing emotional intelligence, strategic goal setting, and making it from there an actionable plan to optimize performance.
Well, there's a couple of things I'll pick up and then I'll hand over to Dr. Irene, because you literally, I saw her face go, yes, that's me. And also you used a phrase from John Wick 4, which is, so the hotel manager says to John Wick, he goes, how someone does anything is how they do everything. And you just said that, and it's so true. Dr. Irene, your experience as a top performer, please enlighten.
Oh, I was like the Hallelujah chorus. I was like nodding away as Lisa was talking, and it's so true, and I'm sure that there's going to be overlaps with everything that we talk about. Lisa, and you just said how you do one thing is how you do everything, and for me, that's all about what is your identity. Right? So many people, most of the world, does not, don't even think of themselves as top performers, let alone have the ability to become one. And I say become one because that, there's a whole bunch of what I call, BS. And yes, that's part of that's limiting belief systems. It's not just brown stuff. That is all balled up around, who am I to think I can do that? And so where I come at from it is from a neurophysiological standpoint, the unconscious mind and neuroplasticity, like the idea that we're working with basically a caveman operating system. And we really need to upgrade our operating system, our unconscious mind, into like the space age to catch up, because it keeps glitching out on us. And so that's where my special passion is the power of the mind, and especially let's remove those unconscious blockages that are keeping you playing stuck and small and safe.
Daniel.
Oh, okay. I'm from Colombia, and I have been flying fighter aircraft for many years, and my top performing leadership comes from that experience, because I have been trained to play in the battlefield and survive and win. And based on that particular training during many years, so I realized that I have that abilities without being aware. So So I easily adapt to the things that are happening normally because that was part of my daily routine. And I can say, as Dr. Irene said, is part of my identity because while I was flying, I had to be very flexible. I have to be able to adapt to the different things that are happening between the place I took off to the place I have to accomplish my mission, and also to anticipate the things that maybe will happen. And
and very quickly.
Yes, very quickly and very close to the ground. And I developed that mindset, and I'm using for my personal life, for my professional life, and also to teach leaders how to think in a different way. For example, when the pandemic hit the aviation system, I was helping the civil aviation in Colombia to write the regulations to be in accordance with the Latin American regulations.
Right.
And at that particular time, people was very scared of what will happen in the future. And I was trying to do something inside the big civil organization department, but they didn't want to do something outside of the box. So I decided to open a kind of webinars. I did like maybe 14 webinars to talk with the different pilots from different organizations and leaders from the aviation system to talk about leadership, about how to remove the negative thoughts, how to remove limiting beliefs, and how to remember that we have the ability to solve problems.
This is very, very interesting to me because you're the third person I've interacted with who's been in the forces, and that up to the grindstone, right in it, having to make rapid decisions continuously, burned into your brain. So neuroplasticity. Now, Dr. Irene, I know something that you may wish or may not wish to share. Would you wish to share about your neuroplasticity story?
It's my pleasure. So, my pleasure in sharing, not so much the story itself. So 20 years ago, I thought I was a mover and shaker and groover and on top of the world as a doctor, a business person, a single mom, doing it all, and did not realize that I was actually running on empty. I was in adrenal exhaustion. As a doctor, didn't know it, and crashed and burned, literally while I was driving, lost consciousness in northern Canada and drove straight into a massive rock face. My 10 bones that I broke were nothing compared to the fact that my 2 young sons were in the car with me, and what you're referring to about the neuroplasticity is that my 4-year-old son suffered a catastrophic brain injury, and took them like weeks before they decided he was going to live, that he was out of the woods. And then they said, he is missing 20% of his brain. I've seen the SPECT scans. It's true. Because he's never going to walk again. He's never going to talk again. He's never going to pass high school. And when I said the N word to the neurosurgeon, neuroplasticity, he literally yelled at me and tore a strip off me going, "No, you don't understand. The tissue's gone. It's gone. I tell you, it's gone. It's impossible." And I went, "Ooh, okay, so I won't use that word around him again."
Yeah.
And so I went toe to toe with the whole medical establishment and did whatever it took, including becoming specialized in traumatic brain injury, going back to medical school. I was already a doctor of chiropractic and acupuncturist. Did whatever I took, whatever certification I needed to find the answers, because it was absolutely unacceptable to me, especially knowing, as I knew, that neuroplasticity was a thing
Mm-hmm.
outside of conventional medicine that there's absolutely no way I am allowing my son to live with that diagnosis. And it's been a long, hard slog, and neuroplasticity is alive and well and is possible for everyone, because my son, who is still missing 20% of his brain, not only walks and talks, he graduated as an engineer from one of the best universities in the world. So,
Wow.
so proud mama moment. Yes, I cried.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah, woo, 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 woo. I wish I had a fanfare now. Maybe I would like to say I'll do it in the edit, but I'm not that clever. So, but that you see, so obviously, you guys don't know me actually, Daniel and Lisa. So I've had a series of injuries and deaths and near deaths, and so I'm paralysed the upper right side of my body from a motorcycle accident. I've broken my left wrist, so I can't use my right hand at all. Can't feel my fingertips in this side. Dead twice on the roadside. Once more in hospital later. Absolutely unbearable pain. That 27 years later, the only way I get any rest is to take so much medication, it would probably kill one of you. And I'm in screaming agony now, but you understand I spent 6 years of drug and alcohol abuse, properly, really just wanting to be anywhere other than my own brain. And after the strokes I suffered, which then meant I didn't have my articulation. I didn't have the one thing that made me me. So I couldn't walk, and I had 6 strokes between 2003 and 2006. Last one wiped me out completely. Even the perception of a reality was taken away. I had light coming in, being received, but I couldn't even focus my eyeballs for about 2 weeks. And then I couldn't walk and talk at the same time for 4 years. So we were talking about, Lisa, we were talking about your DVD, and I said something which, it's not about what it looks like. So that I'll put that out straight away. But I commented that on your website, on your LinkedIn profile, there's your DVD from your fitness days, and you look basically exactly the same as you did in 1980. Is that how you do it? Is that how you've reached this level of understanding?
Well, first of all, thank you. That is just like so not true, but it's the nicest compliment ever. I do believe in biohacking and aging backwards, but I do acknowledge that from the 20s to as you get over 50, it's like a whole different game. So you do have to give yourself grace just the same way you do in anything. Yeah. So I really appreciate the compliment, and I do take my health and wellness seriously, because as a high performance executive coach, I want to show other people that self-leadership is the first part of any leadership. It's like how you lead yourself. Other people that you influence will notice. So, most of the elite top high performers take their health and wellness seriously. And it's almost like the powerful stories that you guys shared with me moved me so much, because you don't have to buy into the narrative that once you get over a certain age, you're just supposed to spread out and lose your spark and your joy and your enthusiasm. Because being a high performer is also the energy that you choose to bring and being intentional with that. And I am very intentional with the energy that I bring, managing my energy and managing my health and wellness, even though it's that time of year where I allow myself grace to eat a few fun things.
Such as?
Oh, well, we have to make cookies tonight, apparently. Normally I don't eat bread, but I've been on holiday for a month. Not really holiday, but workation. And now that I'm back, it's just I have to enjoy my life. It's so important to me. I was
Absolutely.
in New York for Thanksgiving with my family. We had a huge birthday party for my mom. So I'm hoping that I have her genetics and um, just allowing myself to enjoy my life, because I used to be just go, go, go.
Hmm.
And then I realized that I was burnt out.
Yeah.
So I decided to change everything. I moved a year ago. I got married 8.5 months ago, and I decided to just take more time for just me so that I can be refreshing, give more to other people, and show up with a kind of energy that I think high performance is all about. Is that the top high performers are fit.
Hmm.
They don't make excuses. They lead themselves first. They don't come in with anger, which I do see this a lot, but it is the intelligence that you can learn, like neuroplasticity. You can learn to manage your reactions to things.
Yeah.
As a high performer, you can learn that we all have those things, but you have to start asking yourself, is this permanent? Is it true? And questioning your own thinking too.
Yes. So there is a stronger correlation between entrepreneurs and visual thinkers. They're not always dyslexic, but they have an element of visual spatial thinking. The same is also usually true of someone who's doing a yoga or a fitness routine, because in their mind, they can see themselves as the audience would see them. Yeah, Lisa?
Yeah,
In your head, you're playing that. Yeah.
absolutely.
So this is how brains work. We create our reality. Yeah. So, okay. My cunning plan for how to change people involves experiential learning over a 6-year period, where I basically flip all the normal metrics with regard to gender equity specifically. The idea being that the female leadership will increase the female participation, but it will happen at scale all at once, so that you haven't got women vulnerable in, from the crap that all male teams have. And then this is linked to a business transformation, so that the men at the company start to associate female leadership with improved working conditions. Oh, this woman came in as a coach. I didn't really fucking like, excuse my French, didn't like her. But actually, I'm now earning 20% more or 30% more, or I get, a day off a week. Or so that's my cunning plan using neuroplasticity. Daniel, we spoke briefly before we started recording, and economically Colombia is challenging, I think it's fair to say. These experiences have made you a certain type of person, that you recognize your gift and you want to give back. So looking right down the barrel of the camera, tell people what the identifying beliefs of top performers are in your experience.
Okay. No. It's a very good question, because this is part of what I did in my conversations with business people. And I started to say people, success leaves clues. And this has been helping me a lot, because when I realized that I have been doing a lot of things in the past, I focus on those that I obtained success and understand what was happening. And after introspection inside myself, I realized that I have what I have been telling you three in the beginning, that I have my identity comes from my fighter pilot skills. And when you all three are telling the audience what are you doing, what you are doing, I remember that I have a talent, and I can see, for example, an screen, and I can easily think in something that will be useful with this screen in other environment. When I was flying, I see my flight cockpit, all the instruments, and I have been thinking all the time, what can I do with these instruments? And when I was leading a huge organization, 150 people, and 50 people around the organization, 50,000 people around the organization that I have to protect them for different issues, I realized that if I can build my own flight cockpit, it will be easy for me to lead. Because when I have been flying, I always receive the right information at the right time to make the right decision. And when I was working on ground, I didn't have that information. So I say, why this is happening in fly? I feel secure, but on ground, I didn't feel that. So I have many things that I have been doing by doing a visual approach to many things that are happening every day.
In your head?
And I can, in my head. And for example, I can use aviation to solve a health problem. Or I can use aviation and health to solve a air pollution problem in a community.
That's a pretty big claim. So let's go back to the first one. Tell us how, briefly, how you can change. What was the first one he said? Can anyone remember? Healthcare.
Again?
You said you could change healthcare.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us how.
Yes.
How?
One hack. Aviation is very regulated because we are focusing on saving life, the life that we have on the plane. And health has the same approach. They are in the war because they have to save life. And so when I compare the two, I saw that the health system are not very well regulated as the aviation system, because aviation has one big organization that writes only one regulation for all together. And for example, in my case, I have to adapt my way of thinking to that particular regulation and request approval from the top performing people in aviation around the world to approve that I can fly in that way. If they don't approve me, I cannot fly.
So
it's more practical. It's very, very practical, our approach.
Okay, so there is a book I was trying to find the cover sleeve of called Black Box Thinking by a guy called Matthew Syed. And he makes exactly the case you just made. And he starts with, and I'm going to relay the story wrong, but I'll do it for the sake of generalization. Basically, he tells this story where, well, he doesn't tell this story. The first 10 pages of the book are the transcript of the flight. It's a Malaysian or Singapore, one of those countries where deference to authority is the most important thing that a person can have. And this transcript, the co-pilot is saying, oh yes, well, I'm sure that you've checked the fuel supply and we've got plenty to go. And they keep on in this loop around this thing, and he won't say to the guy, we're running out of fuel, and they crashed into a mountain and everyone died. And as a result of that, there was massive cultural training done for the whole airline, and just the difference of a cultural norm caused those deaths. And as a result of black box thinking, people are liberated in the way you say. So you do it that way. Dr. Irene, I know of your brand, and the Shift Institute. And before you changed your name, you were Team Shift on the Zoom call. Your platform does what?
So the Success Shift Institute is on a mission to grow resilient individuals and a world, you could say, and organizations as part of that. And resilience, how I define resilience, you look at it from the physics standpoint, which is that it's the ability to bounce back. I look at it as not just the ability to bounce back from adversity, from trauma, from life's curveballs, but it's how can you use that then to catapult yourself into what I call 360-degree success. In other words, what is that successful life in your career, your value contribution, your finances? Absolutely. How about your health and energy, your relationships, and your personal life? Like Lisa just said, I realized I was this amazing executive coach that's helped top performers all over the world, and yet my own life, my personal life, was suffering. So that top performance, like in other words, it's that 360 degree, I want it all. And guess what? I deserve to have it all. And so that is really what we're all about, is success without sacrificing, and using adversity, using trauma to build our, yes, resilience is a fancy name of just saying, your intestinal fortitude, as a Scottish doctor once said to me, your guts, your character, your strength, your endurance, your flexibility, your balance. Yes, physically, also mentally, emotionally, and I'll say woo-woo, energetically and spiritually as well.
Yeah. And you know what? If I'd have met you maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I would have written you off as a maniac, because I had not appreciated. Why would you question if your interpretation of the world was different to someone else's? I've assumed all my life that we're all living in the same space, and so we're all having the same experience. But that's not the truth, Lisa. So top performers that you want to reach, we want to reach with this conversation, do they self-identify? Do the people you want to speak to know themselves?
I would say the difference between knowing yourself and your ego sometimes is the distinction that you have to make first, because so much of top executives, so many of us are led by our ego and what others perceive of you is important. But it's really, I can't help people that aren't willing to really be a little more introspective than that and just dig a little deeper. And I love the topic Dr. Irene was talking about of resiliency, because I've been talking a lot about anti-fragility lately. It's almost like the people that I want to work with are aware of themselves, are willing to have somebody who's outside of their regular work environment that they can trust guide them, so that they have the anti-fragility to not only go through all these crazy trauma we've been through in the last 3.5 years, but become stronger because of it. And the reason that I'm an expert on this is because I've been right there in the trenches with all of you. I mean, it's been a wild ride. So I like to help executives with resiliency, anti-fragility, adaptability, just navigating challenges and setbacks with the tools and strategies to overcome these challenges, manage stress, bounce back from setbacks, and just become better for it. Because how you react in good times is one thing, but what people will remember is how you react during these difficult times.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's probably taken, there's a phrase about, how you treat the lowest person is the measure of whether or not you're a civilized human being, basically. So is there something which you three could demonstrate so do a talking exercise. I'll be the guinea pig. Eep, eep, eep. And as a way of actually showing how you would speak to a potential lead that might be looking at this, so we can give them a run through of what they might expect from you. What does that sound like? Yeah, you up for that? I mean,
Sounds good.
I haven't obviously prepared you for any of that, and it is my want. I spring these things. So, Daniel, because you've been looking down at something else, trying to multitask, I'm going to come to you first, and I want you to run a scenario, run an exercise, quick 2 minutes that you can demonstrate on me that shows other people how you access someone. So I'm quite a difficult read. So yeah, you ready?
Okay, let me think. Yes, 2 minutes.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
short. Yeah, just something to illustrate your
Okay.
approach.
Okay. Just a brief reminder in the pandemic, when we were unable to fly. Remember all the things that you have in your mind at this particular part of the life that you were thinking, maybe we will not fly again, maybe I will not have money to share with somebody, maybe I don't know what will be my future. So all these things are happening to people around the world, and you only have to focus on this. Is important to see the bad things of the things that are happening daily, but find how were you able to solve this similar crisis in the past to do what you are doing today. And I can help you with that, because I will work with you, just helping you to remember all the success cases that you have in the past. Then, based on that, understand what are your real you, and based on your real you, discover your special gift, and with the special gift, find something to solve. Find a problem, a real problem that you want to solve to impact the global population, and then write a flight plan to fly.
Well,
and as soon as you will be flying,
okay. Well, look. So
Yeah,
Daniel, what I'd like to do is I'd like to have more time to spend with my family. You know, I've got 3 different company brands. I'm trying to do postings on social media. How can you help me? And I don't understand how looking back at the COVID situation is helpful.
Okay, in the easiest way is the way I'm doing, because it is helping me a lot. When I wake up, the first thing I did is to clear my mind, doing a meditation, a short meditation, and seeing how my day will be, and I visualize how my day will be. Then I go to fix my healthy breakfast. Then I go to do some kind of sport, maybe at least 30 minutes. Then I went to my office to write the things that I have been that I have prepared the day before, and start by the difficult thing to fix that problem at the beginning of the day. And every maybe 1 hour and 1 hour and a half, I stop and I do a walk and talk with somebody else, and then I came back to my job, and I focus all the time on the small things that are helping me to do the thing better than before. And
so, Daniel, I would say as a potential customer, I was a bit shaky at first, but then you actually knocked it out the park, and it looks like you're a stooge. I have to say to the watchers, we haven't spoken before this conversation, and the next 4 points on my notes are body, nutrition, mind, and neuroscience, with then growth mindset. So you brought it in for the win, which is excellent. So Lisa, tell me, use me as a guinea pig. I'm a customer. You tell me what I'm like.
Well, a lot of times, top leaders we were talking about have to self-reflect because the problems right now in leadership are a lot of people are quiet quitting and dissatisfied with their jobs, and it comes all rolling down from the top. So I would first, as a potential new client or a actual new client, sit down with you, get really granular about the truth, because sometimes you have to dig past the surface to get to what somebody really wants, and then you have to dig
Give
five
me an
layers.
example of that granular. Do granular on me.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you tell me what it is that you find is a gap right now that you'd like to close in your life?
Well, as I said to Daniel, my main problem is that I'm running 3 businesses and 1 social enterprise and 1 community interest company, and I don't have virtual assistants, so I'm doing a lot of stuff myself, and that takes away from my ability to push forward my dream. So,
Okay, well, just getting back to Dr. Irene's story and the real potential of burnout and adrenal fatigue, why would it be important to you right now to spend more time with your family and have that elusive work-life integration and balance?
I think I'd say, so I'm an older parent, I'm 51, and my children are 7 and 6, 8, and 10. And younger friends of mine that had their children much earlier keep on telling me you're missing the best years of their life. And it's a bit of a cliche, but it's so true. And they've grown so fast, and I've missed so much. And nothing really is worth losing that to me, but I can't change.
Well, why? What would happen if you missed the best years of their life? Like this old Cat Stevens song about the cats in the cradle, where the father was always gone and the son grew up to be like the father. Like, what is that rocking chair moment for you? What would that look like if you had always prioritized work over family in 30 years from now? What would that feel like if you really never took the time to be involved with your children?
I think it would be heartbreaking. I think, yeah. I mean, there's a joy. I've got 2 girls and a boy, and they're all different personalities, and there's a certain joy, just the exuberance of younger children before they all turn into floppy teenagers. So, it's interesting the way you asked about the emotion. And that because as I'm getting older, I'm less able to play, but this is at the time they most need to play. So there's a kind of a crossover of giving and taking at the same time. So, yeah.
Well, I would say because we've dove so deep into neuroplasticity, which means that your brain can change, and you and Irene have both experienced this firsthand, on the same level, people can change. So if you dig deep enough into the pain and keep asking yourself why and why instead of I can't, this is like the perfect time to say, my brain can change, I can change. What's one behavior I can do every day for the next 30 days to spend 5 minutes with each child so that they feel loved, so that they feel special, so that they know I believe in them, that they can do anything they set their mind to do? What's that one thing that you could sit down and write down what and why and reverse engineer a plan for?
Well, do you know what? It's the the irony is not lost on me that I used to post on LinkedIn every day. I do these video conversations. I've got material going back, I've got stuff to publish that's a year and a half old. And actually, relatively recently, and in response to what we're talking about, I said, you know what, LinkedIn isn't where I'm getting anything. It's certainly good for making connections if you then follow them up as we have done and we're speaking, but it is not it's not producing my product or project. So I cut down, and essentially I do two-hour stints on LinkedIn on a Thursday or Friday or Wednesday or Thursday, and respond and post and comment, and that's it. So that's the one thing. And when you frame it like that for me, Lisa, the 5 minutes with each child, I can see their smile already, and it's it's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Dr. Irene, what kind of high-powered maniac am I?
I was going to say, Lisa did it all. I don't need to do anything. I can go now.
Yeah. No. This is the whole point. This is why we bring people together. On a serious note, is that we all complement and interweave. And there's so the phrase that you can't get everything in a partner is because good looks don't require personality building. Personality building doesn't require good looks. Good looks, so there's a lot of wanting it all from one person, the solution to my problem, but my thinking and my reason for drawing you together is that actually I see different elements of your journey being serviced by a number of people. So you said, Irene, 360. Now I don't know what the number is for this, but I wanted, actually, Daniel, you might know. So you got 360 degrees in a circle, yeah? How many degrees do you have in a sphere? Daniel's not watching. There you go.
I'm not the mathematician.
Neither am I. Daniel, you're the flight engineer. How many degrees in a sphere?
Ooh.
Well, however many degrees there are.
No, at least 360 if you are.
No, 360 is the flat. Yeah. But
you have multiple possibilities.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a theoretical science answer. Dr. Irene, let's come back to you, and you run me through, Daniel, I don't know, multitasking, mate. Dr. Irene, I'm all yours.
You have infinite possibilities.
Yes.
That's what it is. Infinite degrees, right?
Yeah.
You can talk about dimensions. How many dimensions?
Well, don't start that because it'll freak people out. Right.
All right. We'll keep it down on this plane.
Okay. So what kind of top performer? What kind of top performer do you want me to be so you can demonstrate an approach? So Lisa's gone into sort of what did you call it, Lisa? The minutiae.
I was talking about
granular.
Yeah, I was talking about 5 layers deep of knowing why. Also,
yeah. Excellent. Dr. Irene, back to you. Thank you, Lisa.
So I am going to ask for some clarification. Are we playing this that this is you are a potential client? Are you a client? Where are you in your journey with me?
Okay, I would say then, if we look at it from a marketing communications point of view, so this talk is going to be on 2 websites, 2 YouTube channels. That's 2 contexts. You guys are all going to post the conversation with the link to the YouTube channel so people can watch the whole interview. And so what you have then is you have someone who's had potentially 2 contexts and 1, 2, 3, 4 touch points. So I'm about halfway from cold to converted, and I'm at that phase where I think we have all, and I don't know what you guys think of this, but I think we've all tried to give too much away in a desperate bid to provide the help that we know we can give. And so we try and give away too much, and by doing so people walk away thinking they've got the answer, but what they've got is just a part of it, and so it goes horribly wrong. So that kind of stage.
Okay. So, Jonathan, one question I have is, where are you right now? What is the most pressing challenge that you are experiencing and even possibly suffering from right now? Now that you have already worked with Lisa, what would you say is your most precious? Call it an emotional pain, a mental pain, like what, or it might be physical pain. What is that?
That's a very good question. When you say emotional pain, what do you mean?
So
let me contextualize that. There's a book I've just read called The Emotion Code, and it talks about how emotions are trapped energies, can get trapped in the body, and that you can release them. So I read this book. I now have this magnet with a hook on it, and you run it from your governing meridian line across your head, over the top, down the back of the spine 3 times to release trapped emotions. So I've been doing that of my own volition from reading the book. Now, in the book it says, this is the way you do it. It's using kinesthesiology. There's a way of doing it to find out if you've got trapped emotions. I know I've got loads of really intense emotions around all these things that have happened. So I don't go through the process of saying what emotion I'm trying to release. I just go release intentionally. So that's a long way of saying I'm no closer to that answer than I was when I started talking.
Emotion Code is an amazing book.
Oh, yeah.
Let me bring it back down to earth and get rid of the jargon. In my experience, most people are more motivated to move away from something that is causing them whatever pain. That's a fancy way of saying most people need to hit rock bottom or almost rock bottom before they're prepared to make a change, right? And call it your enough is enough moment. So what is that part of your life where you're just going, enough is enough, no more. I'm at the end of my rope with this, can't go any further. Because the people I work with, I'm typically like the last resort doc, if you want to call it that. Like, in other words, they've been through working with so many other people. They have a very complicated set of circumstances, and they're right there. They're just that close to giving up, and then perhaps they've heard of me from somebody else. So what are you there? If not, then maybe I'm not the guide for you.
Yeah, I that's going to take some thinking, because I could tell you something. So, for example, look, I recognize that people get together, we have children, which is basically based on sexual attraction, and then as a man I feel quite entitled basically, and I kind of resent my children, as well as missing out from them they are taking my love away from me. And that is painful because I don't want to think that way, but I find myself. Now, is that rock bottom? Not liking your own children?
I would say that that's pretty painful.
I would say so.
Yeah. So, how is this playing out in your life? Like, so in other words, thank you so much for your vulnerability and sharing. And how is this showing up in your life for you?
Basically, I shout too often at the children to get a response. I know as an adult that a child of 10 doesn't understand that things happen in a certain order and why things need to be done in a certain way or a certain time. And I intellectually understand a great deal, but find myself screaming at them to clear their room, to put their plate away, whatever it is. And that anger is not about the plate.
Yeah. What if is one of my favorite questions.
Yeah.
What if there's something else at play besides the kids that is causing your anger and making you react in the way that you do? Would you like to know what that is?
I would like to know what that is.
Okay. So, what if there is something so much deeper inside that needs to be cleared so that you feel free to love your kids? Just be with your kids. What would that feel like to have that cleared away? Like if I could take a magic wand and just wipe it away.
It would feel amazing because I love my wife. I'm still very attracted to her physically and spiritually and as a friend and a companion. I love my children. They're growing up to be fabulous young people. And yeah, if I could not react, fundamentally, that's the thing I think would make the difference.
Absolutely. And what if I could share with you examples of other people who were in the same boat as you were and then managed to find that one thing that was really like, call it like the bottom of the iceberg, the most dark, dangerous part of it, as the Titanic found out. What if there's something that is causing you to react, and I can show you other people how it's shown up with them and how I've helped them clear it? How would that feel?
If you can show me that something you can teach me has helped people in my situation, I'm a customer. What do I need to do next? Okay. So that's we'll stop it there. Yeah. So just so you people watching, they were all made up circumstances, which I played with an aplomb. I hope you'll agree. Yeah.
Academy Award.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I don't know about that far. Maybe I'll go up and slap Chris Rock at the Oscars. Right. So I want to tie this conversation up now. So people watching, you've just seen, let me just put it on speaker view. People watching, you've just seen my three guests, how they spoke to me, how they talked, how they used examples, how they used metaphor to elicit granular, this deeper understanding. So it's clearly something. I know it works, Dr. Irene know it works, Lisa know it works, Daniel know it works. So the only person that needs to change from watching this is you. And the sooner you do it, the sooner you can enjoy a better body, mind, spirit. So on that note, my guests, better go to Daniel first because he's always looking down his piece of paper. I'm interested now to know what you're working on, and this I'm not going to edit this out. It'll be in the actual show this as well because I'm terrible. So encompassing those broad brush mind, body, spirit, nutrition. What are your last words on that, Daniel? The silence is deafening.
Based on what we have been talking, my advice will be to, if you want to face something, the easiest way will be to decide what do you want. The second is to believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. The third one is to act, to pass to action. And the fourth one, you will find rocks in the middle of the road, and you will have to persist until you succeed. That's
your closing statements. Thank you very much, Daniel. Yeah. Lisa, mind, body, spirit, nutrition. How do you want to attack it?
I would just say this is a wonderful time to just look at your what, look at your why. What do you want? Why do you want it? How do you want to influence and show up in the world? And just decide just to take one action. It's all about action. Whether your goal is health and fitness, longevity, weight loss, influence, emotional intelligence, just decide what do you want? Why do you want it? And what's one action I can take every day for 30 days that takes 5 minutes, and then you can stack habits on top of that. And change is possible once you dig deep enough to your what and your why.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I mean, so that's absolutely true. Dr. Irene, from your perspective, mind, body, spirit, nutrition.
The biggest message that I want to give is that if you have been trying so hard and pushing through because you're that heart-centered high achiever, maybe an overachiever, feeling the need to be perfect and to give to the world, right? And yet it seems so hard, or maybe it just feels like there's like this invisible glass ceiling that you just keep hitting your head up against. You're not bad, stupid, lazy, lacking willpower. It's that there are hidden factors at play that are keeping you playing safe and small, that are keeping you that are wearing you out, draining your life energy so that you don't have the energy, the focus, the productivity that you can give toward your goals that you actually really truly need. So it's about clearing those first, freeing up your life energy. All of a sudden the brain fog is gone. You can think clearly now. It's like that song, I Can See Clearly Now.
Yeah.
It's just clear those first. And then all of a sudden, everything else, you'll feel like you have way more time in your life. You'll have way more bandwidth. You'll wake up energized and motivated. Your relationships with your family, with your loved ones, with your team, your coworkers will improve exponentially because you're not flying off the handle at them, or maybe like paralyzed worrying about what, the worst is going to happen. So it's all about taking that first step, and then all of a sudden it's like you'll be able to just see your way clear and move toward it.
Thank you very much indeed. And I think one of the most overriding things that came out from all of you then, and Lisa used the word specifically, decide. People spend years talking to themselves negatively about something they're not happy with, as we all know. And then what they do is that just manifests more of what they don't want. So this conversation today has been about top performance coaching. So it's for you if you're a leader, an entrepreneur. You can be at any level in a business. And I think what's going to be especially true is that if you think about the example that I played with in our little plays, our little examples, you think about that example. There's a man there with 3 kids, mortgage, house, business, this, that, and the other, employees, got responsibilities, blah, blah, blah. If that person crashes and that relationship breaks down and those children are separated and he's having to, only see them once every other week or something like that, the cost of that is hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars. So the idea that the investment in this performance coaching, fighter pilot Daniel, fitness guru Lisa, neuroplasticity expert, experiential learner, just awesome human being, Dr. Irene, connect with them. Their details and any relevant websites will be in the notes of this. Now we are recording this at Christmas, but you may not get to see it for a long time, so I'll say ho ho ho, Merry Christmas. Peeps, would you like to just say goodbye? Wave and goodbye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, thank you. Right.
You got this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Woo.